Did you know that you can speak mathematically? Yes, you can. Mabuhay and welcome to our group presentation. In this video, we will be discussing about the speaking mathematically with subtitles variables, the language of sets, and the language of relations and functions. Let's go! Variables. A variable is sometimes thought of as a mathematical Jandu because you can use it as a placeholder when you want to talk about something. It allows you to give a temporary name to what you are seeking for and it lets you have computation. Ang sinasabi kasi dito, paano ka magko-compute kung di mo naman alam ang isosolve mo? Kaya, dito na napapasok ang paggamit ng variable. At kadalasan, ito ay nire-represent by the letter X and Y. Pero, pwede ka namang gumamit ng any letter na gusto mo. There are two uses of a variable. This is the first use of a variable. Consider asking, is there a number with the following property, doubling it and adding 3 gives the same result as squaring it? In this sentence, we will be focusing kung paano natin i-represent ang variable. So the first thing we need to do is to replace the ambiguous word it. Papalitan natin yan ng variable. So the sentence will be, is there a number x with the property that 2x plus 3 is equal to x squared? So paano nangyari yun? So dahil nga sa ang hinahanap natin is yung number, pwede natin siyang i-represent as an x with the property that paano naman to naging ganito? So, dahil dito. Ang sabi dito, doubling it. Doubling means double it. Dahil nga sa ambiguous word yung it, papalitan natin siya ng variable. Kaya, nilagay natin dito ang x. Adding 3, kaya nag-add tayo ng 3. Gives the same result as squaring it. Result as squaring it. This is the second use of a variable. Consider this sentence. No matter what number might be chosen, if it is greater than 2, then its square is greater than 4. So with the help of a variable, the sentence will be, no matter what number n might be chosen, if n is greater than 2, then n squared is greater than 4. So, kung papansin nyo dito, na-maintain natin yung generality ng sentence dahil lang sa pinalitan lang natin yung ambiguous word na it. Writing sentences using variables. Okay, so let's see the example of writing sentences using variable. Example, are there numbers with the property that the sum of their squares equals the square of their sum? So, with the use of the variable, the sentence will be, are there numbers a and b with the property that a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b squared? So, dahil nga sa numbers yung hinahanap natin, ibig sabihin marami, kaya dalawang variable ang nilagay natin, which is ang a and b. With the property that their squares, ibig sabihin yung square daw ng dalawang variable o yung number, kaya nilagay natin dito is a squared plus b squared. At dahil nga sa sum, hinahanap yung sum, kaya naglagay tayo ng plus. Equals the square of their sum. Ibig sabihin yung square daw ng kanilang sum. Kaya ang nilagay natin dito ay a plus b squared. Or, pwede mo naman siyang gawing, are there numbers a and b such that a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b squared? Pinalitan lang natin yung with the property that ng such that. Or, pwede naman, do there exist any numbers a and b such that a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b squared? These are the three most important kinds of mathematical statements: universal statement, conditional statement, and existential statement. A universal statement says that a certain property is true for all elements in a set. For example, all positive numbers are greater than 0. So this is true that all positive numbers are greater than 0. Ang statement na to ay kadalasan na gumagamit ng mga keywords katulad ng for all, for each, and for every. Pag nakakita kayo sa sentence ng mga keywords na ito, ibig sabihin ang statement na yon ay universal statement. A conditional statement says that if one thing is true, then some other thing also has to be true. For example, if 378 is divisible by 18, then 378 is divisible by 6. So, paano yon? It is because ang 18 is divisible by 6, kaya pwede nating i-divide or divisible ang 6 sa 378. Ang statement na to ay kadalasan na gumagamit ng mga keywords katulad ng if and then. Existential statement says that there is at least one thing for which the property is true. For example, there is a prime number that is even. So ano ba yung mga prime number? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Ano yung mga even number? 2, 4, 6, and 8. So, ang nakalagay sa example, there is a prime number that is even. So, ano yon? Ito yung number 2. Naging existential statement siya dahil there is one at least true in the property or in the statement. These statements can be combined and expressed in a variety of different ways. Universal conditional statements. A statement that is both universal and conditional. For example, for all animals A, if A is a dog, then A is a mammal. So in this sentence, for all ang ating universal statement, while if naman ang ating conditional statement. Pero, if gusto mo naman na conditional statement lang siya or universal statement lang siya, you can consider this one. If A is a dog, then A is a mammal. This is pure conditional statement. Or, pwede naman, if an animal is a dog, then the animal is a mammal. This is also a pure conditional statement. Pero if gusto mo naman na maging pure siyang universal statement, pwede naman ganito. For all dogs A is a mammal. Or all dogs are mammal. Okay, so let's see the example of rewriting a universal conditional statement. We have here the example statement. For all real numbers x, if x is non-zero, then x squared is positive. Kung mapapansin nyo, nandito na naman ang word na for all and then. Ibig sabihin, ang ating for all is ang universal statement, while ang then is ang ating conditional statement. Bale, itong mga nasa baba, itong A, B, C, D, and E, ito yung mga restatement ng example statement na nasa taas. We don't need to further explain it. It is because pag magre-rewrite ka ng statement, dapat lamang na kung ano yung pinapahiwatig ng original statement is ganun din yung pinapahiwatig ng restatement mo. Okay, so let's have here the restatement A. If a real number is non-zero, then its square is positive. B. For all non-zero real number x, x squared is positive. C. If x is a non-zero real number, then x squared is positive. D. The square of any non-zero real number is positive. E. All non-zero real numbers have positive squares or squares that are positive. Universal existential statements. A statement that is universal because its first part says that a certain property is true for all objects of a given type, and it is existential because its second part asserts the existence of something. Let's see the example of rewriting a universal existential statement. We have here the example statement. Every pot has a lid. Yung mga nasa baba, yung A, B, and C, ito na yung mga restatement ng example statement. Okay. A, all pots have lids. B, for all pots P, there is a lid for P. Dito, nirepresent na natin or naglagay na tayo ng variable P na kung saan ay nagre-represent ng word na pots. C, for all pots P, there is a lid L such that L is a lid for P. Dito, hindi lang yung pots ang ating nilagyan ng variable, kundi pati yung lid, which is the variable L. Existential universal statements. A statement that is existential because its first part asserts that a certain object exists, and is universal because its second part says that the object satisfies a certain property for all things of a certain kind. Let's see the example of rewriting an existential universal statement. We have here the example statement. There is a person in my class who is at least as old as every person in my class. A, some person in my class is at least as old as every person in my class. B, there is a person P in my class such that P is at least as old as every person in my class. Dito, nagrepresent na tayo ng variable P na kung saan ay nire-represent niya naman yung word na person. C, there is a person P in my class with the property that for every person Q in my class, P is at least as old as Q. Dito, hindi lang yung person ang ating nire-represent, kundi pati yung person, which is a variable Q. I hope you've learned something. Thank you for watching.